the opinions of the host, guests, and call-in participants. These do not necessarily represent the views of this show's distributors or sponsors. This program may contain obscene, profane, or otherwise objectionable language. Viewer discretion is advised. Howdy ho, everybody. Coming to you cordless once again from glamorous Minneapolis. Jim Peters here. Our guest tonight is Richard Lyons. He's an author, screenwriter. He's written a series of books, a trilogy of books on democracy, and he has a new book he's going that I was not made aware of. And he's joining us from his home office near Madison, Wisconsin. Hi, Richard. How you doing?
Hi, Jim. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. I'm good. No, so now your publicist never explained this to me. The book behind you here. What is this?
It is a tetralogy dedicated to the human tendency to war and to tyranny. It's what the DNA of democracy is, but it's turned outward, international. It goes through 4 different periods of historical time to real events. From the end of the Indian Gupta Empire of India to the 7 Years' War in America, the French and Indian War, to the First World War, to a prophetic scene exactly like what we're seeing play out in the Middle East today. But the ending is different in the book. The ending is what would have happened if 3 months ago Donald Trump and Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner listened at the negotiating table to Iran saying, we're going to have a nuclear weapon in 7 to 10 days. So back off. If we had not engaged Iran militarily and financially and got us to where we are now, we would be paying a apocalyptic cost for Iran having a nuclear weapon.
So you agree with me on the fact that the moment Iran had a nuclear weapon, within a week, they would have dropped it on either Tel Aviv or New York City, right?
Or threatened it and said, we want Israel now. Move all the Jews out or we'll destroy it. And that is exactly what this prophecy says. I wrote the book originally 10 years ago. I just went to a second edition now because of updates in the situation, but it's prophetically true. We may have set Iran back, Jim. I don't know what your thoughts are. Perhaps 10 to 20 years. I'm not quite sure, but it's going to be a consistent problem as long as technology outruns our morality, and that's what the book is about.
Which seems to be like perpetual now. Now, I have to ask you, though.
There's no stopping it. These nanotechnology, you put that together with drone technology, put together with AI, put together with robotics, you'll have people waging war with robots and drones, and only humans suffering.
So I did an editorial last night. Funny you should bring this up. This whole Iran deal that they're announcing in the last 24 hours, something feels fishy to me about this. Do you have the same feeling? It's, I don't know why. It's like there's something we don't know here that's going on. Is that kind of the impression you get?
I think you're right. They had several of the top people from Iran sign on to this thing electronically. The president, the vice president signed it. Trump has said he's going to read it on Friday, word for word. That means he must believe in it. Yes. I'm encouraged by the fact, Jim, that 3 months ago, Iran functionally had the Middle East surrounded by its terrorist proxies. Now Iran is surrounded by its Arab neighbors of the Gulf states who are saying no more of this.
Yeah.
Right? And they're surrounded. And these are the persons who diplomatically, Pakistan, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, these are major names that want this agreement. You go to Europe where their banking is done, and the UK and France and Italy and Germany are signed on to this agreement. So now Iran is surrounded. So
Yeah.
I think we're compared to 3 months ago, it's completely different, and I'm very happy about it. But you're right. The agreement, there's too much language going on and not enough definition for me about this.
Yeah, I propagated that maybe what's happened here is that Trump looked and realized that if he doesn't get the gas prices down before the midterms, they're going to lose. And I think he maybe thought, well, it's worth dragging this out for a while just to maybe avoid that, because then the last 2 years of his presidency are kind of worthless. I don't know if that's
investigation after investigation, I think. And I think you're exactly right. But I think, all right, after the war was executed 2/3 to plan, I think they have 30% of targets, right? Is that correct?
right.
All right. So we got to that point, but then the neighbors, and principally the signers to the Abraham Accords, were pressuring Trump, saying, look, we're with you, but stop. Give them a chance. You don't want to destroy the entire country. So let's give it a breather. Let's see if they'll come to terms. And that was the delay. Then the delay ran into exactly what you're saying. There's a window of time here for gas prices to go down, for people to start feeling the good effects of our economy these days, instead of all the ill effects of an oil spike. So I think you're dead on with that. I think the pressure was, Trump got merciful and then allowed a lapse of time that brought pressure.
You might find this interesting, Richard. So about 10 days ago or about a week ago, I did a little monologue that ended up on shorts that we put up on YouTube and TikTok that's gotten more comments than any other thing I've ever done on the show. And I believe that it was about gas prices. Because I said what I said. I like to tell on the show, I like to report things that don't really make the news. And I reported the fact that both Exxon and the U.S. government were saying that worldwide oil reserves had almost gotten down to zero. And when that happens, which was before the end of this month, was what was predicted, that basically gas prices worldwide would skyrocket. And also, the CEO of Exxon said that even if the war ended, hypothetically tomorrow or before the end of this month, he said it'd still take 4 months for it to get back to normal. And to my amazement, people told me I was crazy.
No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. The world oil consumption per day is 100 million barrels.
Yeah.
This war affected 20% of that. 20 million barrels per day was lost in the marketplace. So yeah, they went to reserves, exactly what you said, Jim, and used it, even our strategic reserves. And when you get to the end of that, just as Iran is at the point, with the blockade, that if they don't start pumping oil, they lose the fields.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of things came together to pressure the moment. But my hope is that the basic elements of the agreement stand, that we get the enriched uranium, that they say they will never pursue a nuclear weapon, either by purchase or by proxy or by development, and that they open the Strait of Hormuz and make that an international body of water. But what I'm not hearing, Jim, and this is my concern, your concern was rightly about the price of gas and over a 4-month period, which takes us right to the election. My concern is the ballistic missile program. They were building ballistic missiles like crazy in order to threaten the whole Middle East and Europe and America. They launched one. You remember? It was 2,500 miles into the Indian Ocean to get it. Is it Andrea Garcia, the island, the fortified island? If you pointed that the opposite direction, it would hit London.
Yeah, and no one knew they had that capability.
No one knew it until they shot that thing off.
Yeah. Do you have hear anything about the Iranian people? I mean, it seems like what I've heard is that in the last couple of weeks, they're disappointed that basically, Trump isn't like kind of pushing this to the wall, or however you want to put it,
Well, he was at the beginning of the military campaign. There was great hope that this would turn the regime out. But what has happened is what was almost universal in the Arab world during, do you remember the Arab Spring?
Yes.
All these countries came out, and it was like the Orange Revolution in Eastern Europe. There was a wave called the Arab Spring of parades and movements and protests. But right after the parades, the clerics and the military took power again. In Syria, that event turned into a bloodbath. In Libya, it turned out Gaddafi and got him killed, but then it reverted to the military. Egypt, reversion to military. The problem is you can have a parade, but they have the guns.
Yeah.
And they can literally mow you down. They killed over 30,000 of their own people. And those were probably some of the brightest minds in the country and the most devoted to liberty. So we're at a real crux time here where you have to, I think we're at a point where the world, if you're dealing with Iran, okay, now what are you doing about human rights? It has to get to a point where they're pressured again. But this seems like it's ensuring the survival of a very resilient clerisy in Iran.
I think this actually leads up to your trilogy here. I'm going to read off the 3 books you wrote on this. The first one's The DNA of Democracy. The second one is called The Shadows of the Acropolis. And the third one is The Passages Through the Shadows.
Right.
You know, and so, I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't read any of these 3, but I've read a lot about them. My impression is the whole series is basically about democracy overcoming or attempting to overcome tyranny. Am I right about that?
Yes. Here, the first volume, The DNA of Democracy, is the how and why behind we were founded as we were, Jim. It goes back to the 10 Commandments, the first common law of humanity that entailed both king and priest, right? Everybody had to obey the law.
Right.
The king was not exempt.
Right. And also, if you don't mind my stopping you for a second, that's been my complaint about the fact people say, well, we should put it shouldn't be in courthouses, but it's literally the genesis of all Western law.
It is the foundation of Western law. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well put. And then you have the democracies of Greece, the Republic of Rome, the evolution of constitutional monarchy in Britain, translated over to here into the Revolution, and then the fulfillment of the Declaration of Independence in the Civil War. That's the first volume. And then the women's suffragette movement, which was the greatest expansion of voting in American history. Then, right at the same time, happened Woodrow Wilson, Jim, and right at the same time began the growth of the administrative state, which took our representation away. Legislating moved from localities and states to the federal government. All the power, all the wealth moved to the federal government over the last 100 years. So we've been moving from our foundations, off the foundations, towards socialism for 100 years now. And now you're seeing what the advent of Obama was, hey, we don't have to hide it anymore. They had to hide it under FDR. They had to hide it under LBJ. Under Obama, they said, well, look, socialism isn't so bad. Let's take over the whole healthcare sector. Let's take over the energy sector through the Green New Deal. This is going to be a great future. What it is it's a prison. So that's volume 2. It goes right up to the persecutions of Donald Trump.
But I have to ask you about this because that was the part that fascinated me most. And the administrative state fascinates me endlessly because I'm trying to figure out, first of all, why do you think this happened?
It happened because we took on Friedrich Hegel's ideal state philosophy. It was huge in Europe among the intelligentsia in the 1800s. It bred Karl Marx, right? Mm-hmm. And it became the foundation of the Italian fascist state, which was socialist, and the German state, and the Soviet Union. It was the foundation of all those states because the state is supreme in those systems. It's the ideal state. And you have to, with your rights, you have to give your rights to the state. It means you have none.
Right.
You have zero. So when Barack Obama in our present day calls our Constitution a series of negative rights, what he is saying is every time you protect individual rights, it's at the cost of the government.
Yeah.
Socialism wants to flip it. The state has all the rights and we have none. So we're at a time, and this is what the third volume goes to. It's called Passages Through the Shadows, because it's a chronicle. It's a series of articles, I think 60 of them so far, over the past 2 years, dealing with current events and the battlegrounds between our founding principles and socialism.
All right, I have two ideas I'm going to run by you here. One is that maybe, I don't know, and you tell me how serious this is, that the reason the administrative state has risen its ugly head is partly because there's just so many people. I mean, when our country was founded, there's 15 million people. Now there's 340 million people, well over 20 times. And is there I mean, the Greeks kind of recognized a tipping point that when you have a certain number of people involved in any enterprise or organization, the character changes. Is that what happened?
Democracy doesn't work the bigger a population gets. And
Yeah.
that is, you're exactly right, Jim. It's the argument for the ideal state that if experts can be made to govern, it'll take politics out of it. The problem is you can never take politics out of it. And when you have millions of people organized in one administrative state, it's like Dwight Eisenhower's warning about the industrial military complex.
Yeah.
It outweighs the power of the people. It becomes a concentrated decision-making organization that defends itself, that has its own identity, and it's contrary to the will of the people. So that's the problem with our administrative state. There are 435 agencies now employing millions of people, and they have in themselves, those agencies have the power to legislate, the power to adjudicate, and the power to fine and punish. That's taking all three parts of our separated government and putting them into one agency.
Richard, this is not a rhetorical question. Do you think that the founding fathers ever thought about how this would scale?
They did. That's why we are a constitutional republic, not a direct democracy. Well, they set up the Constitution brilliantly, Jim, in that they left local governance and politics alone, much as Britain had done for 150 years before the revolution. The assembly in Boston, by direct vote, anybody could speak, anybody could vote. That's your direct democracy, and it was in the town assembly, right? And that still largely exists today. I can go to my town meeting once a month,
right,
and voice whatever matter I want and vote how I want and let them know how I feel. That's direct democracy. When you get bigger than that, when the crowds become bigger and they are prone to passion, right, then they run amok. You need a representative government that has the stability of being bicameral. So you have a House, you have a Senate, and then tripartite, and that you have an executive, you have a governor, right? And so the legislation takes a circle, and everybody has to convene, everybody has to dispute it, everybody has to have their say, but they have to represent the people too, their own people.
And
so where the administrative state goes wrong is it's not representative of anybody.
No, it isn't. No.
No one.
And so after we've been, fucking around with this for 120 years now, I'm talking about socialism and communism. It's never worked anywhere. Why do people keep thinking?
On Earth.
It's never, not a single time it's ever succeeded. And why do people keep thinking they're going to? And the thing is, I mean, I have liberal friends who say this, about, the social thing. Well, it's never been done right. Well, bullshit.
Wait a minute. If you totalitarianism is socialism done perfectly, and it failed at the cost of tens of millions of lives.
Yeah.
And they just don't get it. The one brilliant thing about socialism is that utopia always exists if you never get there.
That's true. That's right.
There's always the promise. And so they just keep loading up the graveyards on the way to this utopia, based on an Eden that never was, and a utopia that will never be, based on an Eden that never was.
Right.
It does not work.
I've been saying now for about 15, 20 years, although my only surprises happened as quickly as it did. I thought it wouldn't happen in my lifetime, that the Democratic Party, which is now, it seems to be in a state of disintegration, that their problem is that they're basically set up to find problems. But as society matures, we've been perfecting ourselves, and there are less and less problems to find, and they're literally kind of putting themselves out of business. I mean,
well, they create the problems for themselves. Look how they
now
did with healthcare.
yeah, right.
Now they're talking about the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. Why is that? High taxes, high prices. It's because government's in the middle of it.
Right.
High housing costs. Why? Because the Fannie and Freddie Mac control 90% of the mortgage market, and it's a government institution. And because we had the inflation of the Biden era, these are Democrat problems, and the Democrats say, "Oh my God, we've got this problem. We got to cure it. Only government can do it."
Yeah,
government created the problem.
Right.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem to be able to fix anything. And not only that, when you look at healthcare,
not even a flat tire.
You look at Canada and Britain. It's like, how can you? Nobody wants that. I mean,
you want to go into the health system in Britain?
Yeah.
Good luck.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. All right, so I'm going to ask you a question here, and forgive me, but it seems my impression is that your third book in this series is out of print. Is that true?
It's between editions, because I began with 33 articles, and it's up to 60. So I'm doing a new printing of that.
Yeah. Okay.
So that'll be out in a week or two. It'll be a second edition.
Oh, that's okay. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
And the thing is, okay, this whole thing that got me started on your trilogy series here is when you said that the problem, like in the Middle East, is that the regimes have all the guns, and
right.
we Americans, we take for granted we're basically the only country in the world that has the First and Second Amendment. I mean, we are. Am I right about that?
Yes. Yeah.
How did we get so lucky on that? I'm sorry, forgive me. I'm astonished by the brilliance of the founders. I mean, you brought this up, but it's like in some ways we got unbelievably lucky that these guys got together and could actually pound this out.
Well, it was a unique time in history where you had 55 representatives of 13 new states put into one place in Philadelphia. And they didn't just bring themselves, Jim. They brought all the best libraries in America at that time.
Yeah.
And the whole generation knew Greek, they knew Latin, and they studied and studied and studied all the different histories of the democracy of Syracuse, the oligarchy in Sparta, the monarchy in Sparta, the democracy in Athens, the Republic of Rome. And again and again, they came up to how do we create a government that governs itself so it doesn't become ambitious, right? And at the end of the Constitution, you had one person who was a holdout, Patrick Henry, extremely well-known, multiple-term governor of Virginia, who said, "I'm not signing that because it leaves a road for the government to overtake the economy and everything with it, and everybody's individual rights. We need a Bill of Rights." And the Bill of Rights, what you just said, the First and Second Amendments, tipped the balance of the Constitution to being towards a free people.
Yeah,
you're exactly right.
Americans don't realize we're the only country in the world that has the First Amendment that guarantees freedom of speech. And look what's going on in Britain right now.
And faith, Jim, very important. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you why, because we're about to have a gathering here in a couple of days. If you have and it goes back to the 10 Commandments. If God is above the state, we all inherit the freedoms of his laws. Those are our rights.
Right.
The positive of thou shalt not kill is my right to life. Right. So as long as God is above the monarch and the priest, and as long as law is a right that you have, that's our system. The opposite system is socialism, where the state assumes godhood. It assumes all your rights and has power over you personally and about everything you do.
Yeah. What's your feeling on the Federal Reserve? I have a lot of economists on the show that think it should be basically dismantled. I
agree with them.
Okay,
You
so
should
but I have to
have
ask you,
a basket of commodities, which is your valuation, and you let that, like a bobber when you're fishing, go
uh-huh.
up and down with the basket of commodities, and you make that representative of however these economists would say, well, that gives us the idea of the value we need to peg the dollar to.
Yeah, my counter to this has always been that, well, somebody has to be in charge of printing of the amount of money we print, and God knows you don't want to leave that to Congress. It'll be worse.
We left it to Biden, and look what happened. My God.
Yeah. Well,
That's what happened.
I know. The thing is, and that's like, people saying, well, no one understands economics. I'm sitting in my underwear in Minneapolis and they're talking about this bill. And I'm saying, well, no, that's going to lead to inflation. Me and like 500,000 other people were saying the same thing. I mean, it's like, how could you, it was so blanket, such a blanket bullshit thing. It's like, how could you not see it? It's like, I don't know.
If you're printing money and you're throwing it out the window, it's going to be worth less.
Yeah.
So, and everybody who had $500,000 in savings, having worked their whole life, right, Jim?
Yeah.
Up until that year in Biden, what was it, 2022, when it spiked to 9%?
Yeah.
But it was 20% in aggregate. So anybody who had saved $500,000 had $400,000
Right.
in value. I mean, it still said on the balance book 500,000, but the value of that was 400,000.
Yeah.
That's inflation.
Right. It is. I don't understand. I don't know. I just like, but the thing is, so, okay, if you dismantle the Federal Reserve, who would be in charge of printing the money? Because like I said, Congress can't do it. They just can't.
Yeah. Well, no, you're exactly right. There ought to be an economic body who would determine that, who don't depend on, they would get voted in by their peers as being the most respected minds in the country.
Yeah.
But that's what the Fed Reserve is anyway. I mean, right now, they are very brilliant people. They're too Keynesian.
Well, but you touched on this earlier about the fact that, about socialism, about the fact that, and just going back to Woodrow Wilson, all these quote unquote intellectuals. And the problem seems to be, and this is a personal problem, I think, about you have people who are highly, highly intelligent that have no emotional intelligence at all. They don't seem to understand people at all. I mean, I can tell you why socialism. Common sense. Yeah. I don't.
Woodrow Wilson is the best example of that. He was the president of Princeton University. He spent his entire life as a professor.
Yeah.
And his knowledge of practical matters was near zero. You can't grow up on a university campus and have any connection to reality, really.
Right.
You're cocooned in it.
Right. That's right. I mean, I don't know about you, but the people I know who are professional academics working in college, it's a fantastic life.
Can you imagine the tenure?
Yeah.
You get tenure. You have a beautiful house just off campus. The campus is manicured every day and not by you.
That's right. I know. Right? I have friends who live this way. It's like
you have wonderful cafes and restaurants, and you get to spout to whoever you want to about your latest work. It's a dream world.
It's not, and they're not the richest people I know, but they have the best lives.
And they have the best pensions. I mean,
right, that too, right.
Pensions.
It's unbelievable. It really is. It really is. And I mean, I don't know what you think, but I think pretty much Barack Obama is in the Woodrow Wilson mold. I mean, same thing.
Exactly so. He is a diehard progressive, but progressive is synonymous with socialist.
Yeah.
It's progress away from our foundation, progress to socialism. And he is exactly his whole life. He was catered to and spoiled. I mean, have you seen his hands? He hasn't worked a day in his life.
Isn't that the irony that America's first black president is one of the most elite people who ever took the office?
I never thought of that, but that's exactly right.
I know.
No, I never thought of that, but it's so true.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've been following this about this building, the Obama Presidential Center.
I grew up in Chicago, and that thing is the most ugly. Chicago is an architectural marvel.
Yes.
I recommend to anybody from Minneapolis Go to Chicago, take the architectural tour up and down
Yeah.
the river.
I've
It's
done
one
it.
of the greatest tours you can do.
I've done it. It easily
And he
rivals New
put
York City
that
for the.
thing in there.
Yeah, I know. It's like a big middle finger in the middle of South Chicago. It's
I hadn't
unbelievable.
associated that, but to everybody who has to look at it,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
And the Guardian newspaper UK called it a Klingon prison. But I don't know if you were following this. This had come out just today about the fact. So, okay, this thing went massively over budget. It's like way over $800 million.
Yeah, I think it was expected at half a billion, wasn't it?
Yeah, 300 million. Yeah,
Yeah.
well over double. And then the also problem was the fact that we're supposed to have an endowment of about $400 million to run it, and that endowment currently has exactly $1 million in it.
No,
So
I did not hear that. You can't even keep the grounds up with that.
no, you can't. You can't. So
not with the minimum wage they're trying to pass in Chicago.
That's correct. That's right. I know. And so really, as from a social standpoint, it's laughable because now let's
let it be socialist. Let's see how socialism works.
I know. I don't understand, Richard. It's like really, it fails over and over again, and people still want to do it.
But that's why that God bless you and your show. We need to fight on these different battlegrounds because they're all over the place.
We do.
I mean, yeah.
I'm trying my best, man. It's like, all right. So explain to you. So you got this book behind you. Is this already out?
It's been out for years. I just went to
the second edition. Is that second edition out?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And it's available anywhere. But I have something I'd like to mention, Jim, because I am offering for the 250th anniversary of America, I'm offering a download of the DNA of Democracy for free at the DNAofdemocracy.com.
Well, I want to make sure we get this right. I went to your personal website, richardclyons.com. Is it the DNA of Democracy or DNAofdemocracy.com?
We have a new website, the DNAofdemocracy.com. And there you can get an audio book. You can listen to it on the road or an ebook of your choice. But people need this education like they need your show.
Oh, they do.
So this is free. You don't even have to put in your address, nothing.
That's
just
fantastic.
Your email address. We send you a link. You get the book.
That's fantastic. That's terrific. Yeah. And you have the third the new copy of Passages Through the Shadows is coming out, like you said, next week.
In a few weeks.
In a few weeks.
I want to get one or two more articles in it before I close it up.
Yeah.
But in time for the election, because you can see all the different battlegrounds that socialism is at work on throughout the country, whether it's culturally in Hollywood, whether it's in the universities, whether it's in these anti-Israeli demonstrations, whether it's Antifa and BLM, all this stuff. They are active everywhere. That's why it is. And the problem is, what our huge problem is that because they cannot succeed electorally, they're turning violent.
Well, of course.
And they don't care.
Right. This is what I was saying. They're literally becoming obsolete. So now they're getting desperate.
Yeah. And so you're seeing all these rigging of elections with what happened to that guy. What was his name in Los Angeles?
Spencer Pratt, yeah.
Yeah, Spencer Pratt. We're going to keep the booze open until he loses.
Yeah, well, get a load of this.
Counting until he loses.
They did a ballot drop of 23,000 plus ballots, and he didn't get a single vote. That's mathematically impossible. That's
even by accident.
That's right. Even by accident. He should have gotten right. That's statistically impossible.
He ought to sue the state.
He should.
Through the roof.
Well, the last I heard yesterday, I haven't confirmed this yet, that I don't know if you heard this, Karen Bass's brother is suing her for he lost his house on the Palisades. And now apparently I read that he has joined Pratt's campaign.
Now, you know what that is, Jim? I love it. That's America.
You're absolutely right. That's
America.
That's America. Richard, when the Passages Through the Shadows comes out again, the new edition, will you come back on?
Oh, love to. Yeah,
good.
I'd love to.
Love talking to you. I appreciate it.
Okay, Jim.
Yeah.
It was a great time.
You have